So here I decided, since I had some time, I'd take it off the engine hoist and see if I can get the table apart. So first I had to get it out of the engine hoist and get that out of the way because the garage is too small. I have to fold things up and play tool Tetris every time I do stuff. Then it's like, alright, take everything apart. It went back together good, so take all the stuff apart. One good thing is the second 2x4 on behind the wheel came apart much better than before. Then I figured, alright, I'll try and get it on the table. Yeah, it's not working so great. Try it on the other side. That worked. That didn't go too bad. With some careful back and forth and letting the weight do most of the work, I was able to get it tilted and then slid up onto the dolly. So that's good. The reason we couldn't get the handle out, as long as I'm not in the light, because nowhere in the handle does it have any kind of connection or screws in this part. It goes the whole way through. So I'm guessing the reason that's stuck is because it's bolted there or attached there. And here you can see the wear surfaces and the slots, and I think this is a piece of, oh wow. Well, there's, if I needed proof that this top slides, here it is. They had put this piece of sheet metal here to try and direct some of the chips. It obviously didn't work super well, or maybe there was something else here that fell off. But they have the bolts that hold that on coming through the top of that piece. Now that I have that flipped over, I can try and clean up in there, get all this gunk out. The reason this gap is here in the center, assuming that is visible, so we have the sliding dovetail from here to there, and then there's this big gap from here to here. Yeah, this part must go that way, because if this went this way, there's no way that this could come out on this end. So this piece has to go this way. The table stays where it is, and this table frame goes that direction, which makes sense because you would want the table to be able to slide in this direction to access the head. So yeah, I just need to somehow figure out, probably put some WD-40 in here, get that soaked, and then try tapping this with a mallet to see if that slides. Because I'm going to want to take it apart, if nothing else, to clean thoroughly underneath and make sure the ways are good and just get it all sorted. It's on the dolly. Now that it's on there, I can reel it out of the way to be able to take the other side off. I'll work on this bit first. At some point, I have to bite the bullet, and probably after I get the outfeed table off, but bite the bullet and open up this center section and see, because when I asked online, they called this a clamshell head for this, and they said there's a known issue with it flying apart at times, especially if you don't have the bolts right. And I'm guessing, I could be wrong, but I'm guessing these are something where you put something down in it with two prongs and then rotate to get those out. I haven't looked real close to see. It may be that there's small bolts down in the center for each of those, I'm not sure. But I did notice that the blade has chips and divots. Worst case, I'll have to switch out to the new ones, but if I can get this figured out, and depending on the price, maybe I'll look at a Shelix head. The first part was done. I wanted to get this on something rolling so that it wasn't just stuck here, and that's successful. So now that I got it upside down, I can access the bottom and I can clean it. There's quite a bit of sawdust up in there. Not too horrible, but you know, we couldn't get to it from up underneath when we were taking it into the U-Haul van before. So got it in there and then tried to get the stuff going, get some WD-40. Was able to get, as you can sort of see there, the wheel does slide, not great. And I decided, alright, that's not working so good. Let's see how well it slides off the track. But meanwhile, made more dirt. Hey, that's actually going really sliding well, so that's awesome. But now I need to have somewhere to put that, so got another cart ready and cleaned up the WD-40 and cleaned up some more dust on that piece, and then we're good. That worked really cool. Okay, that actually worked decently well and was not that hard. Once I got it upside down, at least. So just spraying WD-40 and using the rubber mallet, I was able to gently tap this loose, and then it actually slid really nicely. The one cool thing is you can still see the machining marks on these ways, so they're not damaged, which is awesome. There's nothing worse from watching all the other videos than having the ways all damaged. So the fact that that's still nice and smooth, well, there's some divots, but I think that's from the cast iron casting. And then for the other side, now you can see where they had screwed down that metal plate. I'm going to probably take that off. And even on here, you can see you can still see the machine marks, which is awesome. It does have spots here, which seems like porous in the casting, or a porous casting that when they machined it off, they just left it because those didn't matter, and they don't. The one interesting thing, which I don't know if I'm going to have enough light or if this is going to be too bright. I think that's too bright. Yeah, that'll work. You can see the corner there. Those are welded corners. So I don't know if this is steel or cast iron, but it looks like the corners either have the casting that way, so there's an angled edge, or it's welded. I can't tell for sure. Multiple of the vertical braces, though, have that same type of cornered edge, so it might be in the casting. I was able to loosen up the screws on here, or bolts on here, yeah, and I was able to wiggle this back and forth such that we now have some motion on there. Not enough to get it out, which I'm going to end up doing, but it'll be easier now that I have this separated from the top to shift it around and try and get that shifted and moved. And I probably need to clean off, since this has to slide on the shaft, I probably need to clean the shaft before I try and slide it off. Now I can get in and clean all the bits that needed cleaned up. This used to have a longer piece of cast iron, because you can kind of see that's broken. So that if and when that broke at some point, they just drilled and put a little steel pin in to get it to the right location. But that is the stop point, so basically you just carefully slide on the table, or slide the table onto the, I don't know what that's called, the table triangle? We'll call it that. Slide this onto the table triangle until it comes back and touches here, and then you know it's in the whole way. And the other benefit of it being split up, I can lift the pieces now, because it was like 240 pounds total, so now it's probably only 120. So heavy, but manageable if you're careful, whereas 240 by yourself is, at least for somebody who plays with computers most of the time, is a really heavy weight. 100 something, that's okay, I can deal with that. Now I can get it cleaned up. Oh, and you can see the machining marks. I gotta get a better flashlight. You can see the machining marks on this section, the rounded part for where the head goes over as well, so that's cool. And I'm not sure if that's a pin down in there. I don't know what that is. There's another. This part's broken. Looks like there were two bolts at some point that had something attached. Maybe that was a fence attachment or something, I'm not sure. The fence attaches there now, and that's below where it was. And the fence that is there is just a funky sheet metal thing, so yeah, I don't know. It doesn't hurt to have that broke off. I'm not sure what that was. That looks like a bolt that's broken off down in a hole. I'm not sure what this is. That was for something. Yeah, it's cool. And finally I figured, alright, now that I have in two pieces, I'm going to wonder until I weigh it. So I tried to get the straps sorted, and I'm glad I have the extra hardware that I bought, the additional D-rings and things, because initially the big ones worked okay, but I had to shuffle things around and wasn't balanced. I should have probably used the load leveler, but that would have been more work, so I just did it this way. It took a while, but I got it. And that worked, and it was 52.6 kilograms. And I weighed the other part, and again, that worked. I had to switch things out because it fell off. You don't want that to fall off when you're lifting things. So then I switched it, that worked good. and that came out 46 kilograms.